William Shakespeare is widely regarded as one of the greatest playwrights in the history of English literature. Born in Stratford-upon-Avon, England on April 26, 1564, he lived for just 52 years, but during that time, he created an incredible body of work that has remained popular and relevant for centuries. This article will provide a detailed overview of Shakespeare's life, including his upbringing, education, career, and legacy. Early life. William Shakespeare was the third child and first son of John Shakespeare and Mary Arden. His father was a successful glovemaker and leatherworker who held a number of public positions in Stratford-upon-Avon, including alderman and bailiff. Shakespeare's mother was from a wealthy farming family, and her family's landholdings helped to provide the young Shakespeare with a measure of financial security. Shakespeare was born in a house on Henley Street in Stratford-upon-Avon, which still stands today and is now a museum. He was baptized at the local church, Holy Trinity, on April 26, 1564, and his birth date is traditionally celebrated on that same day. Little is known about Shakespeare's early years, but it is believed that he received a good education, probably at the local grammar school. Married and family in 1582, when Shakespeare was just 18 years old, he married Anne Hathaway, who was 8 years older than him. They had 3 children together: Susanna, born in 1583, and twins Hamnet and Judith, born in 1585. Hamnet died at the age of 11, but Susanna and Judith both survived to adulthood. Shakespeare's marriage to Anne Hathaway has been the subject of much speculation over the years, with some scholars suggesting that it was an unhappy union. However, there is little evidence to support this claim, and Shakespeare's will, in which he left his second-best bet to Anne, suggests that they had a close relationship. Shakespeare's career as a playwright and actor began in London in the late 16th century. He moved to the city in the early 1590s and quickly became involved in the theatre scene. By 1594, he had become a successful playwright, with several of his plays being performed by the Lord Chamberlain's Men, a company of actors for whom he wrote many of his greatest works. Shakespeare's early plays, including Henry VI, Richard III, and The Comedy of Errors, were primarily historical and comedic in nature. However, he soon began to explore more complex themes in works like Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, and Macbeth, which dealt with love, revenge, and the human psyche. Shakespeare was also an actor, and he performed in many of his own plays. He was a member of the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which later became the King's Men, and he is known to have played roles in several of his plays, including The Ghost in Hamlet and Adam and As You Like It. Later life and legacy. In the early 17th century, Shakespeare retired from the theatre and returned to Stratford-upon-Avon, where he lived with his family until his death in 1616. He continued to write during this time, but his later plays, such as The Tempest and Cymbeline, were more introspective and philosophical than his earlier works. Shakespeare died on April 23, 1616, at the age of 52. His death was widely mourned, and he was buried in the chancel of Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon. In the centuries since his death, Shakespeare's legacy has only grown, and his works remain some of the most widely performed and studied in the world. His plays have been translated into every major language, and his characters' adaptations, from operas and ballets to films and television shows. Shakespeare's influence on the English language is also profound. Many of the words and phrases he coined, such as "all's well that ends well," "break the ice," and "love is blind," are still in use today. In fact, his impact on the language was so significant that some scholars estimate that he introduced more than 1,700 new words and phrases into English. Shakespeare's plays are also valued for their exploration of universal themes and their ability to speak to audiences across time and cultures. From the timeless romance of Romeo and Juliet to the political intrigue of Julius Caesar and the existential angst of Hamlet, Shakespeare's works continue to resonate with people around the world. Conclusion. William Shakespeare was a remarkable figure whose influence on English literature and language cannot be overstated. From his humble beginnings in Stratford-upon-Avon to his career as a playwright and actor in London's theatre scene, he left an indelible mark on the world of literature. Through his plays, Shakespeare explored the complexities of the human experience and created some of the most memorable characters in the history of drama. His legacy continues to be celebrated and studied today, more than 400 years after his death, and his works remain as relevant and compelling as ever.